This is the Alden Report.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by ConnectionCapital.com. That's ConnexTion Capital.com. That's ConnexTion Capital.com. You are one connection away from your life changing forever. You know, have you ever tried to connect with somebody on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even Clubhouse, and you couldn't quite connect with them? That's because the biggest gap in the world is the gap of access. It's not the wealth gap. It's not the credit gap. It's the access gap. ConnectionCapital.com is leveling the playing field, and it's free to join. Visit ConnectionCapital.com, ConnexTion Capital.com. Again, it's ConnexTion Capital.com. You are one connection away from your life changing forever.
This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, my name is Michael Alden. We are here in Blue Vase Studios. And as I always say when we start this podcast, I am super excited for my next guest. My next guest is a former professional baseball player. He's a real estate entrepreneur. He's a best-selling author. He's a motivational speaker. He's a coach. This guy's doing everything, and he continues to do even greater things. And I'm super excited to have him here today. I'm going to talk to him about a lot of stuff, but he's really done an amazing job of building his personal brand. He's helping other people learn about the real estate market, and he's just, he's just an all-around good dude. So please help me welcome DJ Thielen. DJ, thanks so much for being my guest.
Hey man, thanks Mike. I appreciate it, buddy.
So
you forgot to mention a good dad. No, I'm just kidding.
We hope I
was.
we didn't even talk about that online. So I didn't know you were a dad too. So we'll talk about that too, because I'm a dad as well. I tell people, I say, look, I feel like I'm a great dad. I'm a pretty decent business person, but I was a horrible husband, and which is why I'm divorced. But I don't know. You can't have it all, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you.
So we met on Clubhouse, and and right now we're just doing the audio version of the podcast. You and I talked a little bit offline before we went live as well. And this is the format we met in, so I figured might as well keep it pure to that format. But for those of my listeners who don't know you, tell us a little bit about your background. And let's start with, you and I, we talked about this. We both kind of grew up tough, and I'd just love to hear a little bit about your background, and then let's start with, I guess, the trajectory in baseball, and then we'll just kind of riff and go from there, man.
Oh yeah, man. No, I appreciate it, man. I mean, first, I think that, a lot of times I think, growing up, and even when we're grown up, right? Like I'll be 50 in a couple months. I'm like, geez, man, what happened? But sometimes things happen to us, and we can choose to be the victim, or we can be the victor, but we can't be both. And I think that, also a lot of times in life, things happen and they end up being, we think of them as, something bad or negative or a curse, but they actually end up serving us down the road and really being a blessing. And it's like, man, if I hadn't went through that, I would have never been able to do this 20 years, 30, 40 years later. Right. So, and I'll give you some examples of that, but yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I grew up in North Portland, Portland, Oregon, single mom, no dad in the picture. They divorced when I was 2, my brother was 3. And, I always joke and say, people go, man, is DJ your real name? I go, listen, man, first name is Dwayne, last name is Jason. From the day I was born, my mom wanted my name to be Jason. My dad wanted to be Dwayne after, I guess, a guitar player or something, from what I heard. And so my dad won. And I'm like, geez, man, no wonder you guys divorced. You couldn't even agree on my name, right? So my mom, literally, swear to God, from the day I was born and came out of the womb, my mom called me DJ. And so, yeah, just went by DJ. But yeah, grew up single mom, no dad in the mix. Had massive ADD. I mean, for those people that go, yeah, I've got ADD, man, my brother would probably argue that it probably, you've never seen anything. I mean, he says, I remember DJ 10 years old playing shortstop in Little League, and the guy's pitching and he's shooting baskets. right? Like just in another world. But obviously, didn't care for school at all. Now I know why, right? When I got older, but had some abuse, had just little stuff go on in life, and we all endure. And then financially, I mean, single mom working 2 jobs. We had a loving family, very loving family. My grandparents, my grandma and grandpa were like the backbone. My grandma was the short Italian, not even 5 foot. Well, we let her say she was 5 foot, right? Because you don't want to argue with non. So,
Absolutely.
But she was the backbone, man. She brought the family together. So I want to say, like, we had a super loving family, but from the other side, it caused me not having a dad in my life. Caused some anger issues when I was young. Didn't know where it stemmed from, and so as I grew up, and at 19. I got a chance, was drafted very high by the San Francisco Giants organization, their 6th pick in 1991, 30 years ago, like literally 30 years ago. And so signed, growing up poor and everything, I'm like, geez, man, he flashed some money at you. It's like you hit the lottery, right? So I'm like, man, I'm out of here. So at 19, I signed and started that venture, started in high A, single A, high A, and you start climbing the ladder, right? Double A, triple A, all that. And one thing with me, Mike, was I was super, and we never talked about this, but I was super talented. Like I was ranked as our number 1 minor league power hitter in the minor leagues out of everyone. I'm this skinny kid, but I was just blessed, man. I was gifted. I was like Cody Bellinger, kind of blessed, gifted, but right-handed. So ultimately, the start climbing through, and I always said when I had a kid, I'm going to be there. And I always told myself I'm not, because obviously I was upset because my dad wasn't around and in our life active and stuff. I'd see him maybe once a year, if that. And so I always just said, hey, when I have a kid, I'm going to be there. So I'm just, on that verge of having some success to break into the big leagues, and on that teeter, and meet a gal, get her pregnant, son comes along. He has some breathing issues. I decide I'm going to take a year off and go back, and I never went back. Literally left the game in my mid-20s. And, from that, now I've been able to coach him in all his sports, and he's 25 now, and, awesome kid. And I have an amazing stepdaughter, but I call her my daughter. Helped raise her since she was 9. And so I got a wonderful daughter that I love to pieces without having to have a daughter. And my wife and I raised a blended family, and it just worked out good. But I say that to say this: a lot of the things, Mike, that I grew up, right, like not having a dad, it made me decide to want to be that great father and that presence and be there for my son, because I didn't have that.
Right.
And so the thing that I thought was really a curse ended up being a blessing, kind of what I was sharing with you. At 10 years old, I literally was playing video games. I mean, not having money, right? Like you figure some stuff out. And so I literally learned how to play video games. I can still do it to this day with pennies. Like you take it, you flick it up. Well, I probably shouldn't say too much, right? But I learned how to play video games with pennies. At 11 years old, remember the Donkey Kong games and the asteroids and that?
Absolutely. There's a great documentary about Donkey Kong, actually. I don't know if you've seen it, but yeah, of course, yep.
No, but I literally figured out how to take a straw and put it above the left-hand top hinge and hit the coin return. I could rack up 100 credits in like 2 minutes, right? So I was so at an early age, those things, right, that happen, and it's like, man, it sucks not having money and my friends have money, or it sucks, we didn't go like we didn't not eat or anything like that. But, I definitely didn't have money sometimes to go to the arcade. So I'd go with my buddies. So then I would, say, hey, I'll give you give me $1, I'll give you 10 credits. So it cost me 10 cents to make $1. And back then, right, I didn't know what I was doing. But so what I'm sharing is like the things that in all of our life that end up, we think like held us back. Sometimes you can do one of two things. you can continue to be the victim, continue to blame circumstances, continue to blame your past, continue to say, oh, well, I'm that way. Well, I'm just that way. No, you're that way because you choose to be that way. And so it's a choice. And so I just chose, like, you know, I've got one life, and I want to just try to be the best version of me that I can. But a lot of the things that happened when I was young, ADD, right? Like, people go, hey, no one is a good multitasker. Man, you ain't been around me. Right? Like, I mean, dude, I heard Gary Vee say this, Vaynerchuk. He says, when I got a bunch of balls in the air, that's when I'm in my zone and rolling. And I'm the same way, you know, where people say time block and do this. Well, listen, man, I've tried it, you know, and so I think, like, all those things you start to learn, like, wow, man, this is really a gift. Like, I could shift conversations. I can shift my focus like that, you know, and detach as well. So anyways, yeah, I got to play some pro ball. Was awesome.
Hey, can I ask you? I wanted to ask you. I want to ask you, like, and you know, you and I talked about this a little bit when we were on Clubhouse, and it's interesting what you say too. Like you said, look, I was just gifted, and it was funny when I asked you the question about your talent, and you just responded and said, you know, and your work ethic, and you said, yeah, I was, but I was also talented. We'll get into that in a little bit, but that moment, you know, again, you're in rarefied air. There's just not too many people in the world that experience what you experience. So you go from, you know, I like to call it the gift of poverty, right? And you go from that to, at 19 years old, going pro. What was that moment like in your head? Like you said, you know, it's like winning the lottery. As a young, you know, man who grew up the way you did without, like me, you know, like you said, we went without, but it wasn't like the worst of scenarios. Tell me a little bit about that, and you know, kind of your I guess your understanding of money, what it really meant, and how you approached it, because you hear, obviously we hear the tragic stories, but just curious about what that, moment was like for you.
Oh man. I mean, listen, the scout was over at my house, John Schaefer, that day. Like, I was at college taking my scores, and I went home, and it was only like noon, right? Like, it was first day of the draft, and it's like 12:30, and she comes out and she's smiling. And I'm like, she's like, you got the call. I'm like, damn, I must have went high, right? So he was over that day signing me, right? No agent, all that. And, but no, man, I mean, listen, it's actually, I can laugh about it now, but when I signed, I didn't have any financial guidance, like none, right? And so when I signed, the first thing I bought, true story, man, not even kidding you, a gold chain, a pair of Jordans, and a scooter. Those were the first things I bought, right? Like, not the most intelligent.
Was it a Figaro gold chain though? Was it a Figaro gold chain? I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
No, it was something I could wear. No, it was a linked mm-hmm. one that I could wear, like in playing ball and stuff. But yeah, and I bought a scooter. So I could get around up in Everett, Washington with me and my best friend that I played with, Dax Jones. And, man, he used to pick up chicks riding on the back. I'm like, dude, you had some game, man. When you can pick up chicks riding on the back of a scooter with an ugly helmet that don't match, you got some game. But no, man, I mean, just fun, you know, like fun. But I always wanted a pair of Jordans, and my mom could just never afford them. And so, you know, when I did, that was, you know, I bought the white and black, and now I have, you know, a ton of, it's funny. My son asked me, Dad, why do you like the Jordan 1 so much? Well, I probably subconsciously, because a lot of stuff comes from our wiring, right? Probably subconsciously, it was just because, you know, I always wanted some and I could never get them. And now that I can, I'm like, hey man, my son has a sneaker business. So I'm like, hey man, I like those. Any Jordan 1, size 10.5 to 11, he's calling me, Dad, I just got these in. You know? So I'm like, all right, man, I'll buy them. You know, I love it. Yeah, no, what were you going to say, buddy?
Well, so I was going to say, so was it, I mean, I don't know if this is public. I don't know if you've talked about it before, but was it life-changing money for you? Like, was it millions, or like, I'm just curious about
No.
that. Yeah.
Like 40 grand,
Okay.
40 grand in college, which I was never going to use. I should have just said, hey, I'm not, I know I'm not going to use college. Why do I need college? Hey, you can have college. Frick, I already hated college. Why do I want more of it? So yeah. Anyways, no, it wasn't a lot. But I'll share this, Mike. The biggest thing that I learned playing ball, what I've done in life is took a lot of the things that I was too, not ignorant, probably a little bit, ignorant, or just not living in awareness or consciousness, and not having a mentor, not having someone be able to say, hey man, this is how you need to think and look at things and perceive things. Was, we're all wired from a young age that what happens to us dictates how we feel, right? So I hit a home run, I'm happy. I get a candy bar, a snow cone, I'm going way back now. People are like, what's a snow cone?
Oh, I love the snow cones, man.
I get something, it makes me happy. And so we're literally, as human beings, we're literally wired from an early age that whatever happens to us externally dictates how we feel internally. And what I've come to know now that I wish I would have known then is it's actually not what happens to me externally that dictates how I feel, but it's how I feel that dictates what happens to me. Because that's why I start my morning with gratitude, prayer, putting myself into a happy, state, vibration vortex, whatever you want to call it. And what I found is that it changes. What it does, it changes what you notice. So when you feel good it changes your perception on how you see things, how you view things. So the same things are going to come at you, whether you're, in a good state or a bad state. The difference is when you're internally happy, no matter what's happening externally, and you realize you're going to view and perceive things with a whole different, you're going to look at things in a whole different way. You're going to look at things more of a glass half full. What's the opportunity? What can I learn from this? Instead of, oh, there we go again. Knew that was going to happen. Right. And so it's just more, it just puts you in more of a glass half full, and as opposed to a glass half empty. So,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Yeah. And obviously, with ball, I mean, it's how fast can you get over failure? You're failing. If you're in the Hall of Fame, you're failing 7 out of 10 times. Right. So, and if you do that, you're like the best of the best of the best. So, you just have to learn how to get over failure. And I didn't know how to do that then. I was starting to learn when I got right before I left the game. So it would have been interesting to see, but it's just, I think understanding that, how to detach and let go of things and compartmentalize it and move on is probably my number one superpower. People are like, hey, that happened, or especially as an entrepreneur, right? Like stuff's happening, man, left and right. You're having people call, you're having this happen. You got an issue over there. You've got this is going good. You got a fire going over there. And so how do you handle it? Right. And what I've kind of, I guess, figured out is I just compartmentalize it. And I do the parts of the business called the energy audit. I learned from Trevor Mock and from carrot.com, one of my buddies. And I just do the things that give me energy, and anything else, I delegate or outsource it, and I'll jump in and deal with it when I need to, but it doesn't consume my life, consume my day. So I think being able to compartmentalize things and call it detaching emotionally, or compartmentalizing it and going, hey, that's okay. I'm going to deal with that. Because, at the end of the day, everything always has a time when it passes. So because I know that no matter how bad something is or challenging, it's going to pass. So why worry about it? Why stress about it? It's going to pass, right? So just do what I got to do, knowing that at some point it's going to pass. So I think it's just I've developed to look at things. And yeah, I think it's helped a lot with, lowering my stress and anxiety and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man, that's so powerful. I want to ask you about, I know that you talk about meditation as well, and you briefly touched upon gratitude. We're on with DJ Thielen. He is a best-selling author, former professional athlete. He's a real estate investor, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and a great dad. If you'd like some more information about DJ Thielen, you can go to djthielenlive.com. It's DJ and it's THIELEN live.com. You can also just Google him. He's out there everywhere. His Instagram is d.j.thielen. DJ Thielen. So again, if you want some more information about him, if you want to hire him as a motivational speaker or a coach, or if you're in the real estate game and you want to learn what he's doing, because we haven't even touched the surface of what he's been doing in real estate. I mean, he's got, some of the highest, or if not the highest rating as far as reviews, higher than the infamous Grant Cardone, who we both know. Again, he's doing some great things. You don't get these types of reviews in the ratings that he has by not really just being a great entrepreneur. So again, if you want some more information, go to djthielenlive.com. So, it's interesting what you said, as entrepreneurs, most of our listeners are entrepreneurs, business people, young entrepreneurs. And, I think one of the most difficult things is, you had mentioned Gary Vee as well, and he talks a lot about it. But as an entrepreneur, we're constantly putting out fires. It's just the prerequisite, and there's a lot of stress involved. And you'd mentioned stress, but you also touched upon it a little bit about gratitude, compartmentalizing things. And on your website as well, you talk a little bit about meditation. And tell us a little bit about your process. You briefly touched upon it, but I think it's so important, man. And, I just tell you, the other part before you answer the question is it's so powerful what you said about the difficult time will pass. And we all go through them, and I go through them all the time. And as human beings, man, I don't care who you are. It just hurts when you're going through some tough stuff. But knowing that it will pass, that's probably one of the best things that I've heard in a long time. But tell us about that, and also about your routine and your daily kind of practice.
Man, you know what, buddy? I like to keep things simple. So morning routine, workout, because it gets the endorphins going in your body. So getting up, getting a workout in of some sort, cardio. It doesn't even have to be a lot. And ultimately, the gratitude, now I just do mine, when I'm showering. I multitask, man. See, who said you can't multitask?
That's the ADHD there, right?
That's the ADD benefit. But yeah, when I'm literally honest, man, when I'm showering, I do about 2 or 3 minutes of all the things I'm grateful for in my life right now. And thank you, God, for this. Thank you for that. Like right now, presently. So that helps wash away fear or anxiety. It just wires you for a good start to the day, focusing on, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. So it starts the day with the right focus. So I'm focused on the right things. I'm focused on good things. So now my energy can go towards good things, and good things can come towards me, is how I look at it. So then I do whether it's God, all of the universe, whatever, I encourage everyone to do this, is you thank that higher power, that whatever you believe in, mine's God, but let's say, thank you, God, for this happening today. Thank you for having amazing clients. Thank you for, I thank God for the things that I want to see happen as if they've already happened. And, thank you for this client closing on this deal and sending in X amount. Thank you for this situation with this client or this tenant, everything working out today. Like anything that you want to have happen, you just thank the universe, God, Allah, whatever you believe in, that higher power, as if it's already happened. And so that's really how I start. And then the last thing I do is when I'm doing that, I'm smiling. So when I'm doing that, I'm smiling. I'm feeling like just abundance. I'm feeling like just happy. And then I put myself into a happy vibration, and then I just do my best to carry that through the day. And if something throws me off of it, which happens all the time, I just do my best to get back to it as quick as I can. And what I've learned is that, now it's like, a couple minutes. It used to be a couple of days. For some people, it's a couple of years, or a couple of months. They just keep talking and giving life to whatever. And so I learned how I've really worked. And I think, Mike, it takes work, right? It takes being conscious and aware of this. You can't just wake up and just go through your day and just whatever happens. You start the day dictating all the things that in your mind you've already accepted it as happening. And you just put yourself in a happy state, and then do your best to, I do my best just to carry that energy and vibration and happiness, through the day.
Yeah, as I listen to you speak, and you and I talked offline, and also obviously on Clubhouse, and it's a very common theme in the things that you're saying amongst successful people. And success is a relative term, and it's different for everybody. But you've achieved great success. Obviously as a professional athlete, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and we've had a lot of different people on the Alden Report over the years that have at the same level. And it's really, really, again, it really just resonates with me, and it really just kind of puts a giant exclamation point on what you're saying. And, I think a lot of people have trouble, and I had a lot of trouble with this until I was in my late 20s with really accepting what you just said, but, setting yourself up for success in the morning. I love what you said about, just assuming that it's already going to happen. Now, let me ask you this. You had mentioned, the energy audit earlier, but where did you learn this stuff? Did it start out as an athlete? Because we always hear about, people always reference, well, Tom Brady has a coach, and Michael Jordan had multiple coaches, but did you have a mindset coach, maybe even in high school or college, and then professionally?
Oh God, no, man. I'll tell you where it stemmed from. So my grandmother, who was like, I was telling you about. My grandmother, Dorothy, we called her Non. So Non, when we would stay the night and sleep on the ground on the quilt, we'd sleep on the ground in the living room, and we'd wake up in the morning and look back. It's like 4:30, right? TV's going. We're like, come on, like she's smoking, right? You could see the cigarette going. You couldn't even see her. And it was a preacher named, I think his name's Jimmy Swaggart.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
One of those guys. And but she used to play that, and so and then she also used to have, there was this thing called daily, something daily, and it was just positive, affirmational, biblical things. So she gave that to us. Then I never even got in. I read the Power of Positive Thinking back in Tony Robbins, right? Probably in my mid 20s when I got done with ball. Got into the personal power and things like that. And that's really where it started. And, probably like everyone, you buy it, you go through it, you don't do half of it, you throw the CDs away, but that's really where it started. And I think as I've gotten older, I've just become more aware. I'm more conscious of, wow, man, this stuff is really, really a game changer, And so, my grandma used to say, we'd say, Non, before she passed, why did you play that, pastor on TV when we were sleeping? It's so early. And she said, because I knew that even though you were sleeping, it was putting good stuff into your head. And that was like, whoa, that was like an aha moment. And so I think just over time, man, it's just been a conscious involvement and a desire, like, how can I be a little better? We all have our things we're great at and worse at, but I think it's just been like really understanding, I learned about back in 2001. I went through a very difficult time, 2000, lost everything. And it was a really dark time. And my brother took me to Marshall Silver, who I know now, but he took me to a Marshall Silver event called Turning Point. And on the Turning Point event, we did, you break the boards, but what we did was we wrote a perfect day. So we wrote a perfect day. Like, if I could live a perfect day, right, what would it look like? So we write this out, Mike, and literally what I wrote, the car I wanted, where I wanted to live, everything. I move into this high-rise condo that my brother had in downtown Portland. And I literally at that point, I'm moving boxes. It's almost like the story The Secret. I'm moving boxes and I look at this and I'm like, my perfect day. There it is. Dude, I'm reading it. I had the exact car that I'd put on there. I had the exact kind of place I put on there. There was like 5 things that I put on there that were happening at that point in my life. It was only about a year later. And so that really was something for me that's when it really started kind of, I think, kicking in and going, whoa, man, like there's something to this, and then from there, over the years, it just keeps evolving. And now you can go on YouTube and, there's all kinds of amazing content and people, Grant Cardone, Patrick Bet-David. I love Valuetainment, Ed Milet, Tim Story. I mean, you can go on YouTube and just literally feed yourself. Clubhouse, right? You go on Clubhouse and feed yourself. And so I think it's just become more and more of an involvement, but that was really, no pun intended, but that was ultimately the turning point for me when I really realized whatever I really truly think and give feeling to and really believe and speak. And that's what Marshall taught me was, if you speak it, you read this and you write this perfect day in the present term. So not like I want this to happen, but this is happening. I wake up, I drive, then I did it again, Mike, driving down Highway 1 in California, manifested that. So I literally, truly, not believe, but I know, and this is a really good tip for everyone, and I'll hand the mic to you, is that people try to go after their dreams and vision board as if like they chase it, right? So I'm chasing this. This is what I want. And that's why it resists you, because anything that you chase runs away from you. So the way to manifest faster and get it is you have to speak it and feel it. Feeling it is a huge part of it, not just speak it, but you have to speak it and feel it as if it's already happened. And when you do that, you put yourself in that space, like that vision board, that perfect day, this life, I'm already there. It just hasn't caught up to me yet. This amount of money in my bank account, it's on its way. It just hasn't hit my account yet. So you act as if it's already done, not chasing it, because if you act as if it's already done, it's only a matter of time, and you see it, you feel it, and you believe it on a constant basis. It's going to, the physical is going to catch up with the mental instead of the mental, the opposite, so to speak. So that's, hopefully that helped, man. Did I answer that?
Yeah, man. I'm just blown away with all the knowledge, as we say on Clubhouse, the knowledge bombs, man. And, I'm excited to hear this stuff, because, I talk about this a lot, for me, the Alden Report, I've been at it for 6 years now. And for me, it's a bit of a, I don't make money with it. We're going to try and figure out a way to start making money with this thing. But it's for me, it's been a it's almost like being able to be coached by people like you, or to be motivated by people from you, and to learn from people from you, for me personally. And so I get excited that not only, because if I'm learning from this, then I'm assuming that my audience is as well, and that was just powerful stuff. And so I want to in a second, I want to kind of transition into a little bit more into entrepreneurship and what you're doing in the real estate world, because it's pretty awesome what you're doing in the real estate world in just a second. Folks, we've been on with DJ Thielen. He's a former professional baseball player. He's a motivational speaker. And man, I'm already fired up just by listening to him as well. So I'm already motivated. He's a great dad, as we talked about earlier, a best-selling author, and just an all-around, like I said earlier, just an all-around good dude. You could just hear it in his voice. And, he had mentioned Clubhouse. That's where we met. We met on this amazing app of Clubhouse. And right away I said, man, I just love to have you on the podcast, because I heard his story, I heard his passion, and I heard his authenticity. And these are the types of people that we bring on the Alden Report, and we've been doing it now for 6 years. So if you'd like some more information about DJ Thielen, you can just go to DJ Thielen live. You can also just Google him. His Instagram is pretty active. It's d.j.thielen. If you want to learn some more about him, go ahead, go to the website and see what he's doing in the world of entrepreneurship and motivational. Check out his books as well. So DJ, let's talk about real estate. I know that you've been in some other businesses as well, but real estate really seems to be the thing that you've been passionate about. How did you get into real estate? I knew that I know a little bit about your story. You had another business, sold it, decided you want to get involved in the world of real estate. What motivated you to get in the world of real estate? How'd you learn it, and what are you doing with it right now? Because I know you also coach people as well, or have a program.
Man, I'll condense this and answer this with a short answer. But really, man, I went to a Robert Kiyosaki event. And, listen, growing up, right, I was always intrigued, remember the Carlton Sheep on TV?
Yeah, dude, I'm an infomercial guy. I'm an infomercial guy.
Oh, man.
That's what I do,
Carlton Sheep, Dean Graziosi, Russ Dalby's note system. Like, dude, I bought all of it. Like,
Russ Whitney. What about Russ Whitney?
In real estate.
What about Russ Whitney?
Russ Whitney.
Russ is a good friend.
And so, yeah, man, all of these things, right? I bought everything when I was young, and never did anything with it. But probably because it was just over my head. But ultimately, like, I did try making some money with notes way back. But yeah, so I in 2005, my wife and I were dating at the time, and we went to a Robert Kiyosaki event, invested $4,000, and then went to a Kiyosaki event, and that was it, man. They talked about wholesale, and well, they didn't even call it wholesale. This is 2005, man. The wholesaling term, I think Kent Clothier came out. It was just called assignment. So I learned about that and a little about real estate. And I had a friend at the time that was out of Vegas that was like connected with some people getting houses really cheap out in Pennsylvania. And so I jumped into that. And that's really I'm like, man, you can get houses for 5, 10, 15 grand. So that was where it started. And then, from that, they always say the best business solves problems, right? Like, if you can solve, the bigger the problem you can solve, the bigger the money that you'll make. So buying, getting properties remotely, like living in Seattle, Washington at the time, Tacoma, getting properties back east, across the country, literally, other side in Pittsburgh, PA, Ohio, Indiana, those markets. I realized, man, you can buy a really cheap home and it could be a really bad deal. Right. Because contractors will rip you off, management sucks, like all of these things. And that's just the start of it. Trying to understand, like, it's hard enough to do it and when it's close to you, but to do it across the country, you really, there's landmines. And as long as you know where the landmines are and you remove them, you can, you win huge. But most people that haven't done it. So ultimately I saw this need, like, man, if I can help people not just get the deals, because getting the deals is easy. Not just, you can get deals off the market, not just get the deals, but get the deals, have the deals fixed for them, have them rented, have them, if they're flipping them, have them fixed for them. Like, basically do the heavy lifting. If I can have a company that actually took care of our clients, we don't just get them the deals. We get them the deals, we fix the deals, we rent the deals, manage them, whatever. We kind of turnkey and do everything at a high level, like a world-class level. That's when I knew, like, wow, this could be, everything starts with an idea. And yeah, that's where it started, man, because I just saw the problems that, when I first started, I was just getting people property. I didn't have anything to do with fixing them or anything, but I saw these issues that they would have trying to do it from a distance and the problems. And so that's where I decided, like, hey, if I can do this for my clients, man, I can actually retain them. I can have repeat business, referrals, and really, that's just where it started. And, 16 years later, we've successfully sold over 4,000 deals. Yeah, man, just continuing. So our niche, Mike, is basically what I did for 16 years, find low cost, low risk, out of state investments and get them for clients that want these kind of deals, 40, 50, 60 grand on fixed up homes, triplexes for 100 grand, 80 grand fixed up, that kind of stuff. But not just get them for them, but make sure that the engine runs smooth, where we get them rented, we deal with the tenants, we help them with more or less everything. And that's really where what separates us from others is, having the experience, knowing the landmines, and be able to really navigate those waters for our clients so they don't have to, and just do our best to serve our clients, love them, and really, really just make sure that every time we have a conversation with them, they leave the phone call in a happy space, no matter if it's a great call or a bad call. And so now that's one of my companies. And then the other part that we do is I just started doing this a few years ago and it just caught fire. So this is Flipping on Demand LLC. But Flipping on Demand was created to help people, to teach and mentor people how to do what we do. So how they can actually get their own properties out of state, and build a business and flip them to investors and make whatever, 10, 20, 30, 40 grand a deal. So what we've done for 16 years and 4,000 deals, we now mentor, coach, and teach others how they can do the same thing and build a business themselves.
I love it, man. And it's great too that you mentioned that too, because, I talked to you, again, we were talking offline, I've done a lot of business with Dean. I've actually hosted infomercials with Dean. How to Be a Real Estate Millionaire. That campaign that you probably saw and bought from I was general counsel of the company that brokered that deal. Russ Whitney is a good friend of mine. We talked earlier. I've had Grant Cardone on. I just had Frank McKinney on. So I listened to everything you're saying. And it's funny too. We've heard some others on Clubhouse who are also in the real estate world that bought some of these programs as well and have been successful. And it's interesting too, because that's the space that I'm in. I actually have one of the longest running infomercials to date, still on air today, and in the supplement space. And we've done some biz op stuff as well, but mostly in the supplement space. But it also is, there's a couple, I know you don't have a lot more time, but there's a couple things you had mentioned about that in particular. You said, you bought the stuff and you didn't do anything, or it didn't work for you. And that's probably because like you said, you probably just didn't do anything. And the other part is that, that you did actually eventually become successful. So I hear that a lot, especially in the business opportunity world, right? Because, you got to really want it and you got to put in the work. There is no secret like sauce, so to speak, right? I know that you can help people navigate the landmines like you talked about, but at the end of the day, whatever it is, whether it's real estate, whether it's, professional sports, whether it's selling supplements like I do, selling books like I do, you still got to put in the work, right? I mean, it's just not,
totally.
It doesn't just happen, right?
No, totally, man. And I think that the, two things that anyone that wants to be a real estate any entrepreneur, but especially in real estate, that you got to understand is, one, you have to freaking go all in. You have to just go, I'm jumping in. Like, can you do it part-time? Sure. I mean, you can do anything part-time, but, and listen, sometimes that's where people need to start, right? They're working full-time. They want to get into flipping or wholesaling, and that's great. But still, I'm not saying leave your job, go all in. Mentally, go all in. I'm doing this. I'm not quitting. I don't care what comes my way. But the reason that I think people quit, there's a lot of reasons, but they just don't have a strong why. So when you don't have a strong why you're doing something, if there's not some greater purpose, you're going to quit really easily. Speed bump, someone says no, people don't text you back. a contractor rips you off. A project takes a year longer than you anticipated. Oh, I'm never doing that again, right? And people quit instead of just learning from it and getting better. So one, you got to go all in mentally. Two is you have to get a mentor. I mean, you can learn it on, there's two views. Right now, real estate's really hot, Mike, right? We're in literally been in this 16 years. I think right now, real estate is hotter than it's been in world history, ever.
Yep.
So what does that mean? That means that some people are getting lucky. Like, you can be an order taker. And when I say order taker, you get a good deal, you pop it on a Facebook group, right? It's a shortage of inventory. So you can order take. The problem with that is that's not, it's a false sense of security, like our money, like our dollar. We think a dollar's worth a dollar, right? And it's just draining because of the money we're printing. So it's the perception. So get a mentor that can literally show you exactly how to do what you want to do. Find someone that has, could be me, it could not be me, but definitely the things to look for. Find someone that's actually done it, not just said they've done it. Find someone that has a ton of reviews online, right? That's why I'm so big on making sure that our clients leave reviews, because, we have like 700 and some now across all the platforms, LinkedIn, if you go to Flipping on Demand on Google, there's like 231, and that's growing. But because, if you can't find somebody, there's only two things. They're not into technology, or they're a crook. That's it. And everybody's into technology, right? So I'm just saying, just be careful, look them up, verify things, make sure that you can go, oh man, okay, this person, do they have some articles? Do they have some reviews? Do they, right? Make sure that it's someone that you can verify, that's done what you want to do, and just freaking pay them whatever the hell they're charging. I'm telling you guys, I don't care if it could be Grant Cardone, and Grant Cardone says, I would here's an analogy. Tony Robbins, I heard this, Mike, for one day, if you want to spend one full day with him and have him just freaking rewire the crap out of your mind, right? $1 million. Most people would go, I would never do that. Don't.
Wow.
Stay where you are, right? So here becomes a better question. Okay, you wouldn't do that, but would you invest $1 million if it made you an extra 100 million over the course of your life? Would you invest $1 million if in the next 12 months it made you an extra 5 million? They're like, well, yeah, of course, but make me the 5 million first, and I'll pay you the 1 million out of it. Right? That's people's mentality.
Right.
They don't have faith. You have to jump. You have to. You're going to pay two ways. You're going to pay in your time, and your energy, and your frustration, and your stress, and getting ripped off and losing money. You will pay that way if you don't pay a mentor, period. You're going to pay one way or the other. And by paying for a mentor, you're going to get to where you want to get to 10 times, 20 times, 100 times faster, because you don't have to try to guess and figure things out. Where it took me to get to in 10 years, I can help someone get there in 1 year.
Right.
Right. And so it really is the fast track. But again, you have to go all in mentally and commit. You have to find a mentor. And the third step is have a strong why and absolutely never quit. No matter if you feel like it, no matter if you just cannot quit. If you have something that's proven that this works and it's not working for you, okay, pivot. Hey, let me come at this a different way. Hey, let me not quit. Let me just try something different. Go to your mentor. Hey, what would you advise I do? This is what I'm running into. That's what a good coach and mentor is for. And so, as an entrepreneur, especially in the real estate space, those are the things that I would say that absolutely people need. And again, Mike, you know, if someone's vetting out a mentor, you have to make sure, listen, you're on Clubhouse, I'm on Clubhouse. Everyone sounds like, you know, what do they say? The Clubhouse millionaires, right? So
Yeah.
everyone's doing 50 deals a month and 10 markets, and right. And they're doing one. So like everybody is an expert. Trust, but verify. Trust, but verify. Look up, you know, that's why, like on my bio on Instagram, I want people, you know, to see articles that have been written about. I want them to see our reviews. I want them, because it's instant. It basically is like, this guy saying he's successful, and then boom, okay, he is successful. Here's the proof, right?
Third
So
party
you've got
validation.
you have to verify things on people now, and you know, those would be my tips: is go all in mentally, get a mentor that can create. See, a lot of people have information, but they don't get instruction. A good mentor, you'll get training, but you're going to get instruction. Do this, this, and this. Don't do any of this. Only do this. That's it. They'll keep it simple for you. If anyone is overcomplicating things, they're probably overcomplicating it for a reason, because they've never really been successful at it. So a good mentor is not just going to give you information. They're going to give you the roadmap. They're going to give you instructions on exactly what you need to do to get to wherever you want to get to.
I love it. I love it, man. You know, that's a great place to end it. You know, we've been on with DJ Thielen, man, what a just wealth of knowledge. And you can just hear it in his voice, man. You know, he's an authentic, real guy. And I just really appreciate, DJ, you spending the time with us. Appreciate the knowledge that you've given us, and it's just been awesome. So if you'd like some more information about DJ, you can just go to DJ Thielen Live. It's DJ THIELEN live.com. Like you said as well, he's pretty active on Instagram. It's d.j.thielen. You can also, he's got a link right there in his bio, like you'd mentioned. And if you do want to kind of vet this guy, he makes it easy for you. You can see all the different articles that have been written about him. He's got over 700 5-star reviews across all the platforms for his business. And if you're interested in the real estate market, look, there's a lot of real estate programs out there. There's a lot of real estate guys and gals out there, and there's some good ones, and then also there's some bad ones. And like DJ said, look, if you're interested in him, trust but verify. Check him out, see what he's got going on. You can just hear it in his voice. I mean, look, we vet the guests here on the Alden Report, so he wouldn't be here if he wasn't the real deal. So super excited that you came on, DJ. It's just really been enlightening. I'm fired up. You got me fired up, man. I wrote down, I'm going to write down my perfect day. I've never done that before. It's just been awesome. And you know what? And I'm probably going to try and get you back at some point. So it's been an amazing program. My name is Mike Alden. That has been DJ Thielen, and we'll talk to you soon.